What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Apple has officially released iOS 26.3 to the public, and if you're wondering whether this update is worth it or not, you're in the right place. In this video, I really do want to go over what's new, performance, battery life, how it's been since we've been running the RC, any bug fixes that are specifically available, and whether you should update it today. So, having said all that, if you haven't been following along with the beta cycles, or historically, .3 releases with Apple do not entail a lot of new features. They are mainly bug fixes, and that remains true with 26.3. It is definitely a refinement-focused update that definitely builds on those previous versions of iOS 26. Not a huge update feature-packed, and basically they are focusing more on stability, performance, and bug fixes, and it's rolling out right now to all supported iPhones, and for most users it's designed to make everyday use smoother and more reliable. And we know at this point, unfortunately, iOS has not been the most reliable iOS in a long time, or software. So having said all that, the only main new change in this build, aside from separating some wallpaper segments from weather to astrology and things like that, is going to be under transfer and reset. And we've talked about this a lot. Now there is that new transfer to Android option down here that will now make moving from an iOS device to an Android device a little more easy. And you can see exactly what it says. It walks you through step by step to get your data transferred from here to your new Android device if you are going from an iPhone to an Android phone. So we're not going to do this right now. We're going to cancel transfer, but you can go right into settings like we were showing under transfer and reset and then make that change if needed. While there aren't any real new major headlining features here, it does address a ton of reported issues, including one I've talked about, and that is the keyboard responsiveness, app stability, and system glitches that a lot of users were actually experiencing. So I'm going to go into notes really quick, and you can see right here, one of the biggest problems in prior iOS 26.2, 26.2.1, the keyboard is horrible. The predictive text line wasn't showing 100% of the time. Swipe to text was a mess, and voice to text was just all over the place. Now, before I show you how much improved this is, I do want to mention we are going to be getting in iOS 26.4 that Gemini integration, and I do think that this is massively going to help the keyboard aspect of iOS that's been needed for years. So if you use voice to text a lot, I'm going to go ahead and just use an example here. The flag football game yesterday was really good. It was more fun than watching the Super Bowl. That was one of the most boring games I've seen in a long time. You can see just how accurately and quick it actually did decipher what I was saying verbally and putting it into text. And then if I say, hey, what's going on? You can see how perfectly swipe to text worked also. And then if you want to just go ahead and use the predictive text line, how are you doing today? It's there and it's working without issue. I haven't seen any real freezes or glitching, and throughout the most recent betas into the RC, I've only had it once where the predictive text line disappeared and it would not proper autocorrect. Luckily, that seems to be much better. Aside from that, animations do seem a little smoother with liquid glass. You can see we're not having any glitches in that control center anymore that we were experiencing in some of the prior builds. Hopefully that has helped as well. I do want to call out, because it always comes up where the most recent updates aren't really beneficial to older iPhones. Keep in mind, all of these new releases are always feature focused on Apple's latest generation, so your mileage definitely may vary. If you have, say, for instance, an iPhone 12 or behind, it might still overheat. It might still get terrible battery life, but it's something I wanted to make you guys aware of, that hopefully, if you at least have a newer device, it is working a little better than what it did before. Now, also, I do want to show you guys one other thing for battery usage as far as how battery's really been holding up. Last Thursday was the first day I really tried to just destroy the battery life, and you can see I still had almost 8.5 hours of screen active time and 15 hours and 37 minutes of screen idle time. That is pretty good. It's saying I used a lot of these features or apps more than usual. However, you can see I was trying to destroy the battery and I still got a good solid day of usage out of it. There's also always security patches that are included, which is another big reason why you always want to keep your device updated. Apple really was trying out the new, I'll show you actually. Let's go into, where are we at? Privacy and security. Those new background security improvements, Apple's been testing this. There hasn't been anything new released for it. They had just empty downloads just to test. This is something that hopefully will help and get updated as soon as there's a patch that's needed. As you can see here, it does say background security improvements provide additional protection to your iPhone in between software updates. So without having to push a whole new iOS version out, sometimes you will see these background security improvements in place, and that would help as well. Now, like I said, older supported devices do seem to have benefited from a lot of the comments in our other videos, but there aren't any. There's always going to be some sort of hindrances, I guess you can say, guys. Not everyone's going to have the same experience, again, depending on the older models. I know there's comments on the video specifically on iPhone 12s that it has helped, and then some instances where even older devices or newer just didn't receive the same treatment. Keep in mind, it does sometimes take a couple of days for everything to finish re-indexing, for your battery life, and for the smoothness to actually stabilize. So that's something you always just want to keep in mind as well. It could technically temporarily use more power while it completes those background tasks, but after a day or two, battery performance should settle and stable out. Make sure to comment down below if you're experiencing any other issues after that, because I really would like to make sure everyone knows whether to update this or not on your specific device. So put your device in the comments, put your issues, and let's all work together and figure out what's going on. Again, one of the biggest strengths of this update is that improved stability. Many bugs I reported earlier appear to be fixed, and the system does seem much more reliable for daily use. So again, no software update is ever perfect, but it does feel like a solid step forward in polish, which it should, since there was no major new features to focus on here. And then ultimately what this all boils down to is if you should update or not. Obviously, if you're running the betas, the answer is always going to be yes. Go ahead, jump on the actual public release, and then you should be good to go for a couple of weeks, because, spoiler alert, we have another video coming out for this, but iOS 26.4 might not drop as early as this week or next like we thought. It's not going to be until the end of February, the week of the 23rd, if Mark Gurman is correct. We have a whole video coming on that. Make sure to subscribe to see that. The only people that might want to wait on this update is those who rely on very specific apps or workflows and prefer to see a few days of feedback first. But for the majority of users, 26.3 is safe and a worthwhile update. So again, like I said, if you installed 26.3, let me know how it's running on your device in the comments. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.